What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today some more Dragon Ball FighterZ for y'all. And this time it's been about, I want to say, either exactly a month or close to a month since Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, the Gogeta of Power, has released. So I wanted to look at him one last time. I know a lot of people like making their judgments on characters really quickly within a couple of days, calling a character broken. There are definitely a lot of videos from when this character came out saying that he's like a pay-to-win character or like he's stupidly broken or something like that. So let's take a real look at him 1 month later. So I actually think this character is probably like top 10-ish, top 12-ish level. So I didn't have that good of a opinion of him when he came out. I was like, oh, you know, he's good. Like, he's okay. And then I played him for a few days, and the more I played him, the better I thought he was. And then over time, over like a week or two, I started thinking, this character is really, really good. My teammate Apology Man actually is maining him right now, or at least is playing him still. I've made up my mind to just stick with my standard team of Gotenks, Hiroshi, Broly, but I do have a really, really high opinion of him, and he's a character that I'm willing to consider as a new character in case we get some type of additional patch for the game. So, what do I think is really good about him? So first we have to talk about his mobility. In Dragon Ball FighterZ, mobility is a weird one to talk about because characters like Broly and characters like Gogeta, even though they're different sizes, Broly is still extremely fast. I mean, given the source material, that makes sense, I guess. So normally when we talk about mobility in Dragon Ball FighterZ, we don't talk about the speed that the characters literally move because everyone moves essentially the same speed. So we usually talk about extra options they have in addition to the normal movement they have in the game, which Gogeta has 3 really important things for moving around the screen. So one, he has this lariat that goes through projectiles. This is really, really big. Using projectiles and assists that are projectiles are a really big part of this game. And the move is safe on block as well. It's only -4. So despite his lack of a full screen projectile of any sort, he's able to maneuver around what people tend to like to use to control space in the game pretty easily. Now 2, he has the axe kick. So it has a pretty big range and it's plus. But for me, the real big thing of it is that when you use it in the air, he quickly can move from retreating to moving at you and still have advantage. It's really, really hard to deal with when you're trying to chase him in the air. And the last thing is he has 2 air dashes. So when it was shown that he had this extra mobility option, people were like, whoa, it's gonna make him crazy. It looks like pretty subtle, but it makes him really, really, really slippery. He's able to travel from full screen to point blank easier than you would think, and in spots where another character would have to land because they don't have another air dash, he is able to air dash because he still has an extra one. So here's an example. I air dash over the assist even though I used both my jumps. Other characters would be forced to block or get hit by this unless they use a character specific option. So then there's his mid-range to talk about. So we generally talk about this being long range and here being mid-range. Mid-range is really important in Dragon Ball FighterZ. It's one of the reasons why recently I've been thinking base Vegeta is not as good as everyone makes him out to be, is that I think his mid-range is not that great, and mid-range is really, really important in Dragon Ball FighterZ. Gogeta is really good at this range. One, he has huge buttons, and one of the big standouts is his 5M that reaches from the start of the round. It's -5 and it's extremely fast, and he can convert it into a combo on hit and block string into a mix-up on block. 2 is his auto combo. His auto combo is really, really good. So the 3rd hit of the auto combo is invincible to jump attacks, so you can use it to both control space and anti-air at the same time. So having a tool like this is really, really nice, because there's a lot of ways an enemy can fall down on you between super jump, double jump, super dash, key blast, call assist, do some air special move that delays them in the air. So having one tool that beats many of these options is really, really helpful. Also at this range, you can talk about the double air dash. When you're close to your opponent like this and jumping over them, you could use the extra air option to delay yourself even more if you want. So then there's his offense. So he has two special things going for him. So one, I want to talk about the 6H offense. The conditioning game he can play with this is really strong and pretty direct. He has the option to do 6H 5S to bait you. 6H, the second 6H is 20 frames. It's very fast. You can do 6H 3H, it's slower. Or he could do 6H command grab, which is a Kamehameha looking style startup. The Kamehameha and the 3H are the same speed. I found this pretty tricky to defend against. You can defend against it a decent amount using like option select guard timings, but you can't cover everything. And even though his command grab is not fast by the way we define it, so there are people who say like Super Broly doesn't have a good command grab because it's 24 frames, right? Even though I disagree, I think his command grab is pretty good, and at 24 frames is fine. His is slower, but we're so used to seeing this as an actual attack that usually by the time we recognize that he's doing that and his command grab, is too late. This is going to be your general offense if you don't have an assist that lets you do this other type of mix-up I'm going to talk about. So the other thing he could do with assists like Roshi is this type of fuzzy offensive mix-up that in most cases in the game you can't do. He has access to this because, again, he has an extra air dash option, so you can do a jump normal, then double jump, and then instant air dash again and attack. So all in all, he has pretty interesting ways of attacking opponents and opening them up. Combo wise, he does a good amount of damage and his combos are pretty flexible. You can choose to go into either standard knockdowns or in the corner. You can use his DP to not only get a Dragon Ball in play, but get a lot of frame advantage as well. And speaking of the Dragon Balls, this is the last thing I want to talk about that makes him really stand out in my opinion. So he has two special things that he can do that other characters cannot do. So one is that he can get Dragon Balls with his Dragon Punch. Now this I think is less important, but I think it affects the game for sure because when he's in play, there's much more potential for all 7 Dragon Balls to be in play. I will say that in my personal games with him, I did have a couple of times where I got 7 Dragon Balls just from doing DP a lot with him, but unfortunately Shenron never came out. But it's something you have to pay attention to while you're playing him. Now the thing I think is more important is this. So this is his 6S. This move has a few important things you have to think about. So one, very often people say he does not have a good full screen game, which is true. Technically, he does not have a good full screen game. But just doing one of these will get someone to come to you for sure. And two, once he reaches level 7, basically everything will kill. So he gets to do a touch of death without really spending spark or using a ton of resources. So even something as simple as this will kill immediately. So there's supposed to be a couple of trade-offs to this. One being that his assist that levels him up does not let you get level 7, and two, that if you use any super of him, like his level 1 for example, he will lose the levels. So if you're aiming for the level 7, you usually have to not use supers with him and have to use supers with the rest of your team. Now that's all well and good, but there's a couple of ways you can fix that. So for example, the team I played the most with Gogeta is this Gogeta, Roshi, Broly team. So for example, if you want, Roshi can give you 2 levels in a block string pretty easily. And similarly, he can also give you 2 levels in a combo pretty easily as well. So any assist like Piccolo A, Android 16 B, Roshi B will give you multiple levels each time you call it. And in addition to that, you also have DP Spark. So a lot of characters, so Team Gohan for example, Adult Gohan aka the enemy has this as well, Roshi has this as well. DP Spark as a pretty good option. As we know in Dragon Ball, doing a Dragon Punch into Vanish is extremely unsafe, so a way to protect your character and a relatively safe option with a DP is to do your DP into Spark since it's basically unpunishable. So Gogeta has a DP as well. The DP is 2-2, it's down. This is already extremely strong. But as a very basic example, he can do DP, Spark, and get 3 levels basically immediately. So if you spend some time in the lab, then you can come up with a DP combo that comes up with 7 levels with 2 assists, or around like 4 to 5 with 1 assist, which I think is really valuable if you kill that point character with the DP, because then the next hit you get on the opponent will kill them. But okay, those are my thoughts on him right now. Again, I think he's like maybe top 10 at best, which is really good for a new character. Unlike the other Season 3 DLC, like UI Goku or Master Roshi or Baby, he doesn't have like a super standout assist to make you want to pick him. Instead, he has stuff that he can do that makes you want to pick him. As usual too, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.